Hi, my name is Gordon Van Dyke, and I am the creative and game director for Kingdom 80s.
Gordon, people familiar with the Kingdom series, this is a whole different take on it, aesthetic-wise.
Yeah, it was a shock to the dev team when I pitched this. I was like, I want to take it to 1980s, and they're like, what? It is a different approach, but there's a lot of reasons, and a lot of it's really personal. I grew up in the 80s. I was 5 to 15 years old. I was riding around on bikes with a bunch of friends, and I was like, this could actually work. And we just wanted to do something different. We've been working on this game for, at that time, for about 6 years, and always in the kind of same era, kind of same technological setting. And we just wanted to do something experimental and fun. And the 80s felt like the perfect kind of in-between space where it was modern enough, but still kind of old enough where it felt like a magical place that we could take the players.
Because all the core gameplay mechanics are still there for fans of the Kingdom series, but you've 80-tized it. How fun was that?
A bit too much fun. So hopefully people don't feel it's oversaturated with 80s references and little hidden 80s nods. And there's a lot of fun hidden things in this game that we've been able to do. And I think that was also good. I've been, in the games industry for almost 20 years, and I got an opportunity to make a game that was really connected to my childhood. So we also set it in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area in California, where I grew up. And so there's tons of references there. So anybody who's either lived in the Bay Area or grown up in the Bay Area, they're going to definitely feel and recognize the locations for sure.
It's interesting. If someone's never played a Kingdom game before, the aesthetic could really draw to them if they like the Goonies or Ghostbusters or that 80s nostalgia. Was that something you had in mind when you were creating the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to take it away from being a roguelike game and move to something more linear, so it doesn't have the same sandbox aesthetics that Kingdom 2 Crowns had, where you could go back and forth. So, you are going on an adventure. You are playing through a story. You're learning about the lore and the history of Kingdom and why the creatures exist, and why this crown is so important and things to that nature. So we're kind of bringing all the things that was this unwritten or just lore that we had wrote for ourselves, with helping with design and keeping things connected. So now we're sharing some of that in this new adventure. So
technically, it is a sequel.
No, well,
kind of like you're a descendant of the original character, kind of.
Yeah, so it's a sequel in the sense of the story, but it's definitely not a successor to Kingdom 2 Crowns. So I would consider this it's like a standalone DLC. And it's going to be priced around what you would expect for that kind of game. We haven't figured out the exact price, but we're going to continue working on Kingdom 2 Crowns. So this is a fun adventure for Kingdom fans, and then it's also a new approach to the game, maybe where roguelike isn't really what you like, but you would like the mechanics of the game. So we're trying to blend those two things and take people on a fun adventure.
Was there anything particularly challenging when trying to aesthetic? Because when you think 80s, a lot of things can come to mind, but trying to bottle that, put it into a game, and make sure that it feels right I would imagine, be a challenge.
Yeah, it was definitely, there are certain things that were a challenge, but it sounds a little bit egotistical, but everything is connected to my childhood, and so that really helped make it easier for us to kind of translate it over, because it's all steeped in its truth. And I think when you're not trying to imagine everything and create your own fiction for why things exist, why you're in this location, why are you in this space, that it helped us kind of overcome those challenges.
Like I said, this is a very personal story for you. Was anything difficult to try to remember from your childhood to try to express yourself in a game where other people could experience your experiences in a way?
Yeah, I would say that the story is definitely not, but the mom is based on my mom, so it was more I drew from mannerisms and kind of look and style. The parents definitely argue a lot less than my parents did, so I didn't share too much. I think we kept it at a healthy balance. So it's not a story about me, but it's a story about what I grew up in the 80s.
Do you think the 80s is having a resurgence now in 2023 with, Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, like these genre films, and the style is making a rapid comeback?
I think, at a certain point, it feels like entertainment, when something has been far enough in the past, you can kind of revisit it and you can kind of pick the parts that you want to experience. You can pick the darker side, you can pick the lighter side. We obviously went with picking the lighter side of those time periods, but it's like similar with World War II. So historical events, if you try to go back to them when things are happening, I think it's too hard, it's too close, it's too real. When I play a video game, at least, I want to go somewhere that I could never go again, or I could have never gone at all, ever in my life. And I want to try to be transported to that place for a moment and experience some of that in the way that person wanted to express. And I think that's why. And you had Super 8 and you have Stranger Things that really helped kind of fictionalize the 80s in a way that I think now people accept it as a magical place to go and visit, or a fictional place to visit, even though it was real.
So when does Kingdom 80s come out, and what platforms are you aiming for at launch?
We're aiming for this summer, and it's coming out on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch.